Hi, hello. So, in today's video, I will be attempting to do my anti-style, but before I get into that, I'm actually awake enough recording this time to remember, if you like this video and you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. And if you are already subscribed, you should like and share. And thank you very much for doing that. We're actually getting really close to 900 subscribers, which is insane. And I'm really happy. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. So for this drawing, I did 2 drawings, one in my actual art style and one in my anti-style. And I made sure to put them like in the same pose and stuff so you could really like compare. So I also decided to draw my Sona, and for anybody who's trying to find a full body picture of my Sona, it doesn't exist because I'm lazy. But I can tell you that the leggings just go down to a combat boot on the foot. So if you're that's as much detail as exists. So yeah, it's just because I'm lazy. I haven't drawn it yet. But for this drawing, I was just like, I wanted to draw something more like chill. I've also been like into drawing more like side portraits or side profiles and more like behind the character, like the backs. So I decided to use this as a time to like just like do that because I really like doing that. I think it just like, especially like depending on like how like it is. So I did a rainy like cyberpunk night city deal because that's like the whole theme of my channel. And my Sona is supposed to be like a raccoon alien. So yeah, I don't know, there's not much thought into it, but for the like actual like drawing part, I did everything in my more like traditional like what I usually do style. So I did the line art, I did the undercoloring, I did the actual coloring, I did the shading, I did that thing where I render the eyes and the eyelashes. I also tried this new trick where you use chromatic aberration on the eyes. And even though you can barely see it, like when you actually look at the eyes, it adds like so much detail. It's insane. Like I'm gonna, if I remember, I'm gonna do this every time I draw something now because it just made the eyes look so like pretty and like hypnotizing. And I was like, wow, I really like that. And then I decided to give my Sona a new tattoo. Originally it was gonna be a whale tattoo because I like whales, but I decided to go with a moon because that was just easier to draw than drawing whales, and whales are hard. And I did what I usually do with tattoos. I used to like use line art to line them in, but I realized how with my style it was kind of looked unrealistic. So now what I do is I kind of just render them onto the skin, hit a multiply layer, and I lower the opacity so that they look more like they're on the skin than just like line. My style is very like soft and like vibrant colors. Whenever I do use a darker, more desaturated color, it's always like the most vibrant version of that desaturated color. I was really realizing this when I was coloring the anti-style, how like vibrant my colors are, because I didn't think that my colors were super vibrant until I like saw that. I also did the thing where I mapped in like the underpainting. For anybody who has a more like realistic-y, painterly style, it adds a lot. Even for anyone who does a more cartoony like style, for some reason it makes the characters feel like they have like they're live and they like have living like organs, and it's cool. Yeah, onto the shading. I decided to do a backlit situation because I can't help but like not add intense lighting, because if there's no intense lighting, I kind of suck at shading. But I really do. I just enjoy intense. That was a joke, but I just really love more intense lighting. I just think it like adds. Sorry about that. I think it just adds like this dynamic to the drawing. Sorry about that. I'm having a time. But it adds this dynamic to the drawing that I just can't like. I didn't want it to be too harsh because I did want to see like some of the detail I did, especially because my character, my Sona's VTuber design is like super complicated. And since this is still image, I decided to draw that one. Because as you can see, when I animate my Sona, I take away like almost all the detail, because except for like the 7 earring, which you can't see in this drawing because it's not the right side of my Sona's head. I also forgot to add the jacket details, but I go back and I do it, I promise. Yeah. For the shading, I do what I normally do, which is hit a multiply layer and I get a slightly more saturated, darker version of the color, and I hit the multiply and then I blend out my shadows. This isn't like it's very, once you figure out how to do this type of shading, it's very like simple, but it looks like really like complicated. It took me years to figure out how to shade like the way I do now. I actually used to do cell shading for most of my artworks until I figured out how to do that, and it's quite simple. I also added in an airbrush to make it look a little bit darker because I did want some like intensity, and then I added 2 lights, which was a main light, which was going to be pink if I remembered, or it was going to be blue. I think I got them backwards. And yep, I fucked them up. One light's supposed to be blue and one light's supposed to be pink. That was the story. I added the noise, I added a rain effect, and then I added a little glitchy effect because I like adding those effects. I think it just makes my artwork look like more interesting. Like I just like it. And I also, another thing that I did was I tried to make it look like my Sona was getting wet in the rain, so the hair is a little bit more like flat to the skull because the water's weighing it down. Along with, I gave myself a new tattoo, but I think I already said that. So other than that, that is my style. And for my anti-style, I already knew, so I did the same drawing but from a different, like from like the flipped side. And you'll see I have a hard time with the eyeball. I knew the opposite of my style was gonna be more cheap, like a more chibi, more like cartoony, like thick line art. I tried to do thick textured line art, but I couldn't find a brush, so I just gave up. But I still did pretty thick line art. And I lined art in the tattoos, and I also did cell shading along with hatching. And I used really desaturated colors. For the anti-style, I was trying to think of like, even like the opposite shapes I was using for the hair. I go back and I fix it a little bit, except for the bangs, because I think regardless of style, the bangs would be just the bangs how they are. But for the like part of my hair that's more fluffy, that I thought I would just weigh them down, or no, I would make the spikes more spiky looking. And as you can see, I forgot I fixed it. So I go back and I fix it to make the hair look a little bit more spiky. And then with the clothes wrinkles, I also try to keep this in mind. I'm trying to keep everything like sharp. I don't know how well of a job I did. In hindsight, I did not do an amazing job at making everything sharp, except for the tail, which I really like the way the tail looks. That's where I think that style really shows its like oppositeness, because I use thick lines. Instead of using texture to define the fact that it's fluffy, I used shapes, and I just used put a bunch of sharp triangles on it. Since I paint in the eyelashes now, I decided to, for the line art, the first thing I was going to do is those eyes and the eyelashes. I had trouble with the line art since I haven't done thick line art in a very long time, like seriously. So I was having a trouble finding a brush, and I tried to find a textured brush, and then it failed a little bit because I didn't like any of the way the textured brushes looked. So yeah. And also another thing is all the textures on the clothes, instead of like drawing them on the clothes like I normally do without line art, I lined art them in. I think I changed this up because it looked like they were actually patterns on the clothes rather than like a real like thing. Same thing with the tattoos. It just helps differentiate them as like a pattern. And then I color dropped the same colors, but I made sure to like, and then I went over them with a grayscale and I desaturated the crap out of them once I made sure all the colors were right in reference to each other. But yeah, I used the same background, but I darkened it and I desaturated it. And I also desaturated myself quite a bit, because I did realize that how vibrant my colors are. And for the shading, I did the opposite of the shading I do, which is more blended and rendery, and I did cell shading. Originally, I just was gonna cell shade it without like covering the whole thing, and then I was like, you know what, it'd be easier if I colored the whole thing and I erased the light, so I just ended up doing that. So, and after I did all of that, I added in a rain effect of the same for the other drawing, but I also added in a line effect because this is more of a cartoony style. I also added the pink and blue light, but I got it right this time. So I did a cool thing with showing the art. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This was actually really fun. I don't know if it's 100% my anti-style. I'd have to actually probably work on it a little bit more to actually find like the exact opposite. But I think I did a pretty good job for like somebody who just did one drawing of an anti-style. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.